All right, welcome back to Predictive Key Gaming. Today we're going to take a little bit longer look at Rolemaster 2nd Edition Spell Law. I totaled over the past, 40 years, right? Anyway, Spell Law, as with Arms Law, part of Rolemaster. Um, so, Rolemaster, as they say, lots of dice involved. Um, but so the way they got realms of power, which essence channeling, mentalism, arms, uh, some, uh, taking a look at professions and stuff like that. There's more realms of power, or than you would, you know, there's not just arms, okay? There should be the policy, my policy was that there's, the realm of subterfuge and the realm this, that, and obviously they added arcane, which is kind of a realm of power too. But anyway, so this book deals with just essence channeling and mentalism. So you got 4 different kinds of spell users: pure spell users, hybrid spell users, semi-spell users, and non-spell users. With the spell, the pure spell users being the uh, straight up like your wizard, your mage, and what they did is for each of essence channeling and mentalism, pure spell users are, there's 3 of each, and the hybrid spell users will combine essence and channeling, essence and mentalism, mentalism and channeling. So it gives, a slight bit of more flexibility and kind of defines those spell users in a, more interesting way. Anyway, and then semi-spell users are your, guys that can use spells, and they got some sort of variant of arms, bard, ranger, monk, and then of course with the expansion or the Rolemaster companions, there's a lot more different, even defining those even more. So then your non-spell users, your straight up fighter, thief, rogue, warrior, monk. So that's the way that works. Okay, differing from Dungeons and Dragons, for example, the Rolemaster spells are divided into lists, with the first level spell being relatively weak, and the higher level spells up to 50th level, are can be fairly strong. So those are classified into base, closed, and open spell lists. Okay, so what you do is, you just like when you're rolling up your character, you put your skill points into trying to learn a list. You can only learn one list at a time. All right, that's the way it works, and you make a spell gain roll against that to try to learn that spell. If you fail, oh well, it doesn't add up. You got to try again next level whenever you get some more points. Um, what I did is, everybody's got the basic. The pure spell users have the ability, when they first start out, to learn one list. Okay, so for your magician, trying to learn some spells about fire and stuff like that, you only got that one. When you try to learn the second one, you got to go out and find the materials, the books, the tutor to teach you how to try to learn the next spell list. Very expensive. Very expensive. So that's the way I played it. Sometimes maybe somebody would stumble upon a tome that they could use to learn, another spell list and everything like that. But so yeah, I always told my players, be particularly choosy about what your first spell list is going to be. So then you'd make a spell gain roll, try to gain that spell. You cannot cast a spell above your level. So first level magician cannot cast a second level spell, even though he's learned it, more or less. There's a way of getting around that, but that involving rituals and stuff like that. But yeah, that takes a long time. So trying to fire a magic missile type spell with a ritual is kind of stupid. Anyway. So you learn a portion of the spell list. Now your non-spell users can still make an attempt at learning open lists, spells on an open list. Even a 20th level fighter is not going to have, the ability to cast some super high level spells. The portion A is the first 5 spells. That's all you get. All right. Another thing that there's 6 lists per profession, but extra base lists, you can choose 5 open or closed lists, or 4 open and closed lists to round it out to 10 as your base list, which your base lists are going to be the ones that you can learn the most stuff. All right. So that's why so again, you want to be particularly choosy about your lists. And fortunately for Rolemaster, there's tons of lists. You can pretty much, craft your magician to be, any kind of magician you want to, so that's the good thing, is you can find open lists that's going to round out your, what you have an idea as your character. So then you get to that was part 1 of Rolemaster. The second part of casting a spell is casting a spell, which adds more dice. Basically, you've got to have power points. You don't learn each spell, and that's what you get for the day. I'm going to learn 4 magic missiles, and no. You have the ability to cast any spell that as long as you have the power points. Some items and things like that will give you the ability to cast more than you're able to, and the PowerPoint multipliers will double your PowerPoints and stuff like that. And as they warn, be very choosy if you're the game master about giving away these PowerPoint multipliers. You can only use 1 type per day, but it can get out of hand, and it should be extremely expensive and extremely rare. All right, so your stats add to the casting spell roll, and things like that. Some items have spells embedded in them, so that's cool. When it comes to casting spells during a fight or a battle or anything like that, spells come first, missiles next, melee after that. Armor does the usual Rolemaster armor thing. Armor does affect the casting spells, obviously. Doesn't mean that your magician or your cleric, well, cleric's obvious, your magician or your mentalist or your alchemist can't go into battle wearing heavy armor. It's just they're not going to be able to do much, all right? And as discussed, heavy armor restricts your maneuver and everything like that. So dice rolls, percentage, non-attack spells, you've got to roll between a 4 and a 100. If you roll 3. If you roll a 3 through 100, spell succeeds. If you 0, 1, 0, 2, spell fails, and there could be some sort of penalty depending on. Just like with Arms Law, some of these fumbles are pretty hysterical. Anyway, turn yourself into a frog, anyone? So then you can, obviously the biggest part about this is firing off your fireballs, your ice beams, your magic missile type things and everything like that, which is an attack. You attack your target, they get a resistance roll. Basically, you're firing it off and your opponent's making a resistance against that. Armor affects that, and it's level versus level to see if the spell actually does what it's supposed to do to the target. Okay, so each spell has a description of what it does. X number of points of damage, critical this, does that, turns them into a frog, whatever. All right, so elemental attack spells are kind of different. So they're gonna from some of these other attack spells, it's almost the same, but elemental attack spells, fireball, firebolt, things like that, hit for damage and possibly some sort of critical, heat critical, ice critical, impact, criticals, things like that. So, critical strikes obviously are in this, same as arms law. Spells attacks, it gives some what to do when you're trying to, blow up a rock, that's blocking the tunnel or something like that. And they go into magical research and item creation, which is an involved process, but there's basically your alchemists and your artificers and things like that are going to be casting spells to try to create the item. And doing that takes time, money, resources, and things like that. So, yeah, you can have an alchemist or player character and everything like that, but it seems to me that it's better to maybe have that guy doing something in the background in town, maybe helping out. He's a brother of your main character doing stuff, sister of your main character, whatever. Enchanting items for you, or enchanting items and selling them to you. Optional rules about this stuff. You got your herbs, your plants, things like that. Some information about evil spell lists, which have some different rules, including, fatal channelings and things like that, which are extremely nasty and everything like that. But hey, what are villains for, right? Doing the nasty. And extraordinary spell failure, of course, turn yourself into a frog, as discussed before. Then they go into all the spell lists that are available in spell law itself. And like we said, each of they have the open channeling, open lists, closed lists, and base lists, right? So, open channeling lists are up. So let me explain channeling and things like that. So channeling, you are getting your ability to cast spells and gain power points from your deity or some other higher level being. Okay, so that's channeling. Essence is the power to cast your spells, and the power points come from your environment and things like that. Your mystical is kind of an inner power source, right? So, and then hybrid kind of uses different things like that. Arcane, of course, uses the power that's inherent in the atmosphere and the terrain and things like that, and are, the basic building block of magic, at least in the Rolemaster. Then you got elementalism, which comes from, you're drawing power from the planes and things like that. So closed lists are going to be slightly more powerful than your cantrips and things like that from the open spell lists. A lot of the stuff for channeling is to go ahead and help out your healers and things like that. Lore, symbolic ways, rune casting, your channels, of course. Then they go into your base list. Your clerics are, not as defined as from Dungeons and Dragons. Clerics are religious people. They got protections, repulsions, channeling, summons. Let's see, we got communal ways, life mastery, so some basic stuff. Your healers are the ones doing the traditional Dungeons and Dragons cleric thing. Your animists are sort of like druids, although there is a druid class. Rangers are, of course, more or less aligned with the Dungeons and Dragons types, and evil clerics got their own lists. Astrologers are hybrids, or actually, no, these are the mentalists, right? I can't remember. And then they go ahead and give you all the lists in a shorter format, so you can photocopy it and put it with character so he knows what he can get. Open Essence is, of course, your typical magic user type stuff. And let's see. Alchemists are building things for you, liquid gas skills. Your inorganic skills, organic skills. Oh, there's the illusionist. Water law for the magician, typical fire, earth, um, light, ice, water, wind. All right, your illusionist is typical for Dungeons and Dragons illusionist. So you've got illusions, light, molding, feel, taste, smell. Alchemists, like I said, building things for yourself. Monks. All right, so monks are considered an essence user. There's some talk around, of course, the net and everything that, well, monks should be mystic. All right, well, it depends on how your monks are set up. So, monks, I feel that it's the wrong name for the profession, but whatever. Go ahead and define that some other way. And you got your sorcerer, which is destruction spells. And like I said, there's 6 per profession, so then you get to pick 4 more. So choose wisely. And mentalism, the usual, stuff: telekinesis, speed, movement, mind door, presence, sense control. Your seer, again, like the alchemist, I don't know. Maybe they should be in the background doing something different for you, right? True perception, sense through others. And the lay healer and the healer are kind of different, the way that they work. So the healer takes the damage upon himself, then heals via spells and things like that. The lay healer is the one that straight up lay hands on somebody and help them out. Blood mastery, muscle mastery, concussion mastery, which heals that damage that's been done by the sword, and nerve and organ mastery, prosthetics. Then the bard is considered the mystical semi-spell user. Take that as you will, but it makes sense since he's kind of doing things like controlling senses and things like that, and doing lore. And then the mystic is the hybrid user for mysticism and I think essence, right? So then you got all your tables in the background, in the back here, doing damage, delivering criticals, and then your crit tables and all the tables that go with, the casting of the spell, basic attack rolls, resistance roll tables, things like that. So in general, Rolemaster spell law is kind of complex, but kind of simple at the same time. You gain the spells. You can cast as many spells as you want, depending on the amount of power you have. And then, the spell either succeeds or doesn't succeed. Your opponent under attack by a spell gets a spell resistance, can resist the spell and may cause the spell to fail, things like that. And, it's very, the way that it's laid out, where you can pick your spell lists and, things like that, makes it very flexible, I think. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. This ran a little bit long. I didn't think I would babble on so long about it, but like I said years ago, my favorite fantasy role-playing game. Hope you like it. Hit like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next